time again, and we've got quite a lot of information, quite a huge, wonderful show for you, and sharing art. But first, I just want to say the drinks that are on this table, they're ours. So please help yourself. The Senior Center was very generous in leaving those for us, so please don't be shy. We do have a sign-up sheet for AI art that you have done and brought to share. Is there anybody here who did bring their AI art?
I have 3 that are on the computer already. Sherry Lynn Morris, Sue Wickersham, and mine.
Okay. There is an option too to if you wanted to print it out. Is there nobody to do that? Okay, well then I'll just take that off. Are there any new members or guests with us? Oh, okay.
I'm kind of new, but I'm old.
Hey, that's the best kind.
Well, I used to be a member of the PAA, and I've just come back again after several year absence.
Okay,
So
and
it's
your
good to be
name?
back. Melody Lane.
Melody Lane. Well, welcome again. You are a member now.
Yes.
Okay, welcome. And I saw another hand back there.
I'm Deb Walker, and I found out about you from Sherry yesterday.
Yesterday,
Yeah, I didn't even know that this existed, so.
that we exist, and we do. Boy, do we.
Looks like
We really exist. And so, are you a member?
I want to be, but I'm not yet. I just got here.
Okay, I think we've got member forms.
Yes, I just put them up.
Oh, okay, we do have member forms, and
Without me, I go.
who can you give your check to? Is there somebody here that can take the check? I don't think Jerry is with us. Can you? Okay, so Deborah, if you fill out your form, write your check, and give it to Carrie right behind you, that will be good. Okay, with that, I'd like to introduce our presenters. We have 2 today. This is unusual. And our first presenter is Lucia Rothgeb, and she has been a member for at least 75 years. Right? Really, 40 plus? Is that 40 plus years?
Well, it's within the 40 years.
When I joined way back when, I don't even remember, Lucia was my mentor. I looked up to her, she was so cool. She taught me to look at a picture, a painting, and how the eye travels around. Because I'm not a painter, I'm a sculptor. And that stuck with me. Thank you. So, but first, before I do that, I would like to thank Lucia on behalf of Placerville Arts for donating your paintings and your frames. Linnell had a barn sale at her house, and she sold 6 pieces of your art that were the coffee cup that was beautiful, as well as a medium-sized acrylic landscape for a total of $206.
5.
Oh, yeah. There's my spell checker.
Yeah, I have to come up with that extra $1 if I don't correct it.
$205. And it's like almost doubling what we have, but we had a lot too. We're doing really good on the outreach. Our second presenter, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Vernon.
Oh.
And Glo has been a member for a very long time. I'm
There's a thing here.
thinking
Yeah.
82 years.
Oh, yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
I'm thinking 82 years.
It's been since, I think I joined about the year 2000, no, something like that.
The
It's
year
not been there.
2000, okay. So we've got two very seasoned members, and, let me see, I forgot to tell you. Lucia is going to demonstrate and explore the uses of abstract painting, collage, and ink. And Glow is going to teach us about watercolor in crystalline form, along with iridized watercolor and pen. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Lucia and get the show going. Oh wait. I'm sorry, Roberta. This is a form, one more thing.
Sure.
This is a form that the senior center needs to have signed by everybody to release them of any liability. Oops, okay, of any liability. So if you have not filled out this form, Roberta can hand it to you. And if you would fill it out and return it back to Roberta, we're good to go. Okay.
One time only.
Okay, all right. And with that, I give you Lucia.
My first major announcement is it's National Cheeseburger Day. You gotta know those things.
Roberta, can you hit the lights, at least in the front of the room? There we go.
Ta-da! So I have been in this room for on and off 20 years, coming and going with PAA meetings. It's been just great. I was glad that Outreach got the benefit of the sales, and I can't thank Linnell enough on several levels. She saved my brain, my emotional stability when I was moving, and I had so much stuff because I took seriously when my teacher said, you'll never get good at your art unless you paint every day. Okay, do the math. After a certain length of time, you're going to have a lot of paintings, and I didn't know what I was going to do with them. And Linnell said, well, we'll take them. And I said, any money you get for any of the frames or paintings, put it into Outreach. It'll be a great way to support PAA. And I was really glad to do that.
And between last year and this year, we've raised several $100s from that donation from Lucia in selling frames. Fab bought a lot of them. Carolyn Cunningham bought a lot of them at the frames. And then Vernon just contributed and bought a piece of Lucia's art at the barn sale. And so we really appreciate those kind of donations. And if anybody would like to bequest us in your required mandatory distribution, just see me and I'll tell you how.
Okay. And so, like I said, I appreciate Linnell on a number of levels, and that you're a wonderful leader and a high-tech person. So terrific.
Half high tech today. We failed about halfway. We'll do the best we can.
Halfway, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So, I love to paint. I love the feel of the paint and smooshing it around. I do like the oil paint thing about the viscosity, and I love the smell of oil paints. But I don't love all the toxicity and the cleanup and all that stuff. So now I'm just a water media painter. Abstract art in acrylics is more than fun. When I first went down to buy some paints, I was surprised that, I don't know where Marilyn and I went down to Utrecht or one of those, when University Art, when it was in Sacramento, and the young man that was waiting on us said, oh yes, I do abstracts and oils. And I thought, ooh, that sounds like a lot of money to put into abstracts. Acrylics works for me, and that's my thing, and I wanted you to know that I get very excited about painting. I try to do something artsy like that almost every day. I recently saw a YouTube with a sketch artist that had saying, I just don't know, sometimes they just don't know what to draw. I don't know what to do. She then said, I go to a website called mapcrunch.com. Mapcrunch.com. And it's a view of the day, random street view all over the world. One day I'm looking at Greenland, I'm looking at Madagascar, the Maldives, names on the little tiny writing at the top that I have to then use my phone to look up, where the heck is this place? But it's a hint for you to be able to use the technology to do hard, use your materials to make art. And I suggest that as kind of a, set yourself a thing. I'm gonna do it every other day. And I've got myself a sketchbook just dedicated to doing that. And whenever I have friends over, I say, oh, just a minute, look what I've done now. Poor things. The learning never stops. And I mentioned the YouTube because it saved my life starting March 2020. That pandemic that my family said, stay in, don't go anywhere, stay in. Well, I did all kinds of learning through studying with the artists on YouTube. That is why I passed around that paper is distributed YouTube teachers, some recommendations, and since I wrote that up, I've found more. And the nice thing about YouTube is you can click on any one of them, which then tells the algorithm, whoa, they want more, and you'll get, next time you'll get more and you'll get more. Or you can put in the search that you want just pen and ink sketching, or just pouring of color. Some of the people are amazing and informative, and some are just nutty. This is abstract art, drip, 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 scrape. Look what I did. And I don't agree with that, so let's talk about abstract art. There is representation art, which we're familiar with, the landscapes, the figurative works, and still life, that kind of thing. It all needs to go on a plain piece of paper. So I gave you a favorite poem, the little half sheet, called Horizon. And that was written by poet laureate from the early 2000s named Billy Collins. He has such a great way of saying things. And you can read it in your leisure when your poetry reading hour that you have, right? And the whole point is, you've got a piece of paper like that. Draw a line. How he knew this, he's a poet. Draw a line 1/3 of the way up. You have sea and sky. You have a vast desert. It could be anything you want. So don't let anybody tell you, oh, we can't draw a straight line. Well, if you do and you use your imagination, boy, you're going to get a good result. So let's see what else I've got here. I think I already told you how much I like doing it. So we can go to the next slide and maybe kind of not stay too long on that one. Okay, good. So, a couple of years ago, I went to a documentary showing swing dance. It was all about the history of it. There was a swing dance, kind of a conference. There were people who had done swing dancing back in the 30s, and they were so good, and they taught young people. And I thought, that energy, how could you show that? So this is an abstracted version. Get back a little so you can see. The painting itself is over here. So after we're through, you can come and see it more closely if you want. And the idea wasn't to show exactly what shoes she's wearing, or if she has a bracelet on, or that kind of thing. I tried so hard to show action. There's music going, it's exciting, and they're being carried away by it. So the next one. Now, this slide I titled City Streets. An abstract sometimes is really hard to name. What is the name of that picture? Because sometimes it's just a mood. It's not really a thing. But as I put collage parts on it and all, I began to feel that it was more like maybe a little bit of building, a little bit of city, maybe wet streets. So do you have the next slide that shows it full screen? There you go. So can you see okay from over here?
Move around a little bit.
If I move this, will I throw your...
No, you're fine if you want to move that.
Okay. It's only 8 inches big, and this big, the painting. So it's kind of fun to see it blown up like this. I have the tissue collage examples with me, which I can show you later if you want. Depends on our time. If I don't keep giving anecdotes and stick to what I'm supposed to say. But you can look at this and you may say, oh, I see a little doggy around the corner. Well, that's great. I don't want to be unfriendly, and I'm totally aware from the time we're toddlers, we're learning to see things and identify shapes, identify things. So it doesn't matter that you're not 20 anymore, right? We still try to do that. And when you look at an abstract painting, you don't have to see something. It's not necessarily a compliment to the artist to say, oh, I love your work. I love the way you put in all of your work. Really? Maybe you do. And maybe the artist does name it so you know that's what they wanted. But you're not required to see something in the painting. Okay, let's go.
I see a woman dancing on the side. Do you all see her? See, she's right here, right here. Okay, onward.
Next. There we go. Now, this really is abstracted out. I had a chance to go with my family to Italy, to Siena, and the big cathedral there is, raise your hand if you've been to Italy and seen those cathedrals. Thank you. The designers loved white tile and black tile, and they did it in stripes, all the way up, way in the air, across the front, inside. Very impressive. I don't know, I could be very meditative in that environment, but the sun was coming through the windows, and I started wanting to make something that made me remind me of that. And this is just memories of Siena with kind of a stripy sun coming through the thing. But I still had to make a painting out of it, even though it wasn't a church in Italy. So I tried to do the painting so that there would be a place for your eye to move around and come back, that there's a balance of light and dark, a value next to each other to help things pop. So this is what I look for when I'm doing abstracts. Okay, next. Now, you can get stuck sometimes, and I got to thinking about that, and I had this nice big canvas, 3 feet by 3 feet this way and 4 feet this way. And I started thinking about not being stuck, but stepping forward. And what I did was I did the little squares to represent a step or stepping stones. In the center, it's kind of heavy. I was really working to move myself ahead with the darker part. Also, as a composition, it provides a center too. And then is there a second one that's the larger?
No.
Okay. Then the smaller ones going up are lighter. I'm sort of skipping along. And that was a way I could express my intention to move forward. So your idea, you may get that feeling, I feel like I'm stuck, I want to paint something that shows I'm going to move forward, I'm determined to. But maybe moving forward for you might be on a kayak on a lake, or it could be a stream, or it could be a train, so that you can use your own creativity to express that feeling. Does anybody have any questions or anything? Okay, next. The air is very, very thick with smoke. It's hazy, it's reddish. We haven't seen the sun for weeks. We constantly hear about good friends and family who've lost things to the fires. We all live up here, so you know what I'm talking about. You sit I was living in Cameron Park at the time, and where I lived I was pretty safe, but I couldn't, it was hard to realize how people were in such danger. And it was all hot and fire. And I said, what we really need is a snowfall. We need a good snowstorm. Okay, I'll make one. So I did. So I decided I was going to paint a painting of a fire being put out by snow. And that's what this is right here. And I brought that painting, and thank you for holding it up. Yeah, now this one is my bucket list. I did it. I didn't think I would ever do it. You see in the side here? It's kind of, I couldn't resist it. That's the best of show ribbon for Motherlode show about 4 years ago, and I never thought I'd get that. The name of this painting is Presto, and it is pretty large, and I did about 5 of them, all thinking about music and musical terms. You know, pianissimo, largo. The one I did that was largo, I kept saying that while I was painting it. Heavy, walk, largo. This is better, it's presto, light, and it was really fun to do. I just have one of that series left, and I brought it. It was a smaller one, and depends how the name of it is. Depends on if you're a musician and you want to say vivace or vivace. or just viva, which means life and action. And that's what that one is. So, does anyone have any, you don't have any things? Yes, Fab.
So my question is, so you give yourself a prompt?
A lot of times, yes.
Okay.
But, you know,
How do you choose your color scheme in that prompt?
sometimes I try to use a limitation of colors. So if I use a limited palette, it really gets exciting because you have to think more, try some combinations you never thought you were going to try. And sometimes it works really good if you've got a tube of paint that you bought on whim and you have no idea what to do with it. It's kind of an odd color green or an odd color yellow gold of some kind, and you don't think it'll mix with anything. Give it a try. One of the things that works really well for me is to do the acrylic work on gessoed watercolor paper, because I seem to have saved an awful lot of watercolor paper, and I'm in the process of gessoing it. And, you know, if I decide something is good enough to frame, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it, you know. So,
Lucia, one of the things that you mentioned to us in a previous demonstration that I thought was very interesting is that you very rarely will use a pre-mixed black, that you will create your blacks out of complementary colors.
yeah, they are very rich in color. If you mix burnt sienna and ultramarine blue, those two colors with the full density of the color together are pretty darn dark. It's not jet black, Mars black, ivory black, bone black, whatever your tube is saying, but it is rich and dark, and kind of nice not to use it straight because you don't want a black hole in the middle of your artwork. But as you begin to pull out the color by adding white, it is the most delicate gray, dove gray that you could ever find. And then what you do is you say to yourself, all right, another complement would be yellow and purple. Well, that's tricky. Try it. You might like it, but then just take out your color wheel and start playing with that. So do the next one.
You want the one after this?
Yeah, that's the one I have here. So I got, you know, we travel up and down Highway 50, and for a good portion of the year, we've got all these golden hills and the oak trees that are just amazing. And I just, the way the oak trees, you know, sprinkle over the hills or clustered, the way they have deep shadow under them. I really wanted to paint that, and I have. And then I read an article that science probably has known it for years, but first time I read it, was that the roots are connected. Now I can understand that along the coast with the redwood trees, because they're underneath that ground. You can imagine it all connected. But the oak trees we have here, all the dry ground in between, but it's true, they do connect. And that's what I was trying to do with this painting, which I'll show you another one. But I have it just on my wall at my house. All right, Linnell. So this is what it looks like. You know, the slides aren't, I didn't give you the best pictures. I wish I understood all that part of the tech best. But you'll see that there are squares of color intersecting with each other and lines. And I was thinking of being connected, the root system. So it should all kind of connect around. I think that should, how many, we don't have any more, do we?
This is the last one.
That's the last one. Cool. All right,
And
So
you're right
this
on
is-
perfect time.
that's the last one. So this is out the back of where I live, and that's an example of what I meant. So I have something to show you that we can turn on the lights for. Thanks, Roberta. So this is an example of taking my idea and painting on watercolor paper. And, oh, thank you. She's gonna save me from myself. So this is the, if you wanted to just draw a nice painting of oak trees. Now you could tell I'm not a botanist, I'm not trying to make it perfect. But then I was able to draw it out a little and make it more of a abstracted. So that I wanted to show the mass of the oak. You know, they're so sturdy, oaks are. And yet, I like the idea that there was, they cast shadows. They don't grow with nice, you know, trunks like that. But I was abstracting this one, so I could do what I wanted. You know, you're an artist, you could move mountains. Has anyone ever done that? I don't think I like this mountain here. Let's put the sky over there. Which is a challenge. I like watercolor. And you don't have quite as much flexibility. But that's what I have, and I think I've run to the point where
You're perfect. You're absolutely perfect. Now we're going to shift our focus over here to Gloria Vernon and get her slides up while she talks to us. And probably once again, it would be a good idea if we could hit those lights over there.
Leave one, can you leave one row on maybe, so I can talk to them, see what, whatever.
We can't get the
Clear.
image with the front lights on.
So, yeah.
You can leave the back lights on.
that's a good idea.
Because I wanna, I think, show this stuff
Oh,
here
I
first.
see. So yeah,
Yeah,
she's gonna
Roberta, let's
kill
do,
that.
yeah.
Okay, so you want to show stuff before you show
Yeah.
these things. I'm just going to put
That works,
something up
okay.
so that we
Yeah, put something
see
cool.
something pretty there.
So are you, do you think you'll do
Yeah,
that?
I probably should do that, shouldn't I? Okay. Well, Lucia, you're so organized.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
The
And had all
Virgo
these wonderful
comes out.
things to say. I kind of wanted to talk to you about materials and what I do with my materials to get an abstract painting. I have recently started working with, I guess I do need to have some light, sorry, Linnell, screwing up. I started working with a material called Brush-Up, which is pretty intriguing. It comes in this little tiny container that looks like a film container. And you punch a hole in the top, and you can sprinkle it on your paper and manipulate it or let it run. It does all kinds of really fascinating things because of the texture of this. And I started using this largely because I wanted to do abstract, but you know, looking at a white piece of paper, you know, you're looking at a white piece of paper, well, I don't know what to paint, you know, you're trying to figure out what you want to do. Well, this brush-o stuff creates areas of color that you can play off of and create a design from. That's why I really like them. So let me show you a little bit about what I do. What I do is I will,
Do
you
you
know,
want me to turn out the lights so you're not gonna talk to that
no,
yet?
not right yet. So I just wet down my paper. Everybody's seen this. I don't want to, you know, beat a dead horse, so to speak, because everybody's seen this. But I wet my paper down so that I have a nice damp surface. And then with this brush-o material, you can, for example, this is a purple, and I'm going to just sprinkle it on there. See what it does? And what happens is it has a lot of different colors in it to make purple. And then even more intriguing, see what happens? It starts to spread out and create these kind of floral kind of designs, which I think are very cool. So I will incorporate those into whatever I'm painting, whatever my idea is. But you can also do this. See what happens? And it starts to run. And it's very cool stuff. I mean, there's red in there and there's purple. Can you see what that's doing? It's going to be dripping here soon. Dripping on the floor. I can wipe it up later. So that's kind of what it does. And you can use that to say, hey, that looks like a iris. That looks like a, some other thing that you might be looking at. And that's what the brusho will do. And then you can also, I'll clean it up later. You can, control it this way. See, now you've got streaks and you've got color. And then you can also blend them together just like you would a normal watercolor. Okay? So you can do that sort of thing. So you can paint with it just like you would watercolors. Okay? Let me show you one other kind of cool color. This one's called moss green. And moss green has a number of different colors in it too, like this purple does. And what I do again is wet it down. Okay, look what moss green is. I just think it's intriguing. I just really like watching it do things. The moss green doesn't have as many colors in it. It just basically has a moss green. There's another green here, olive green. There's olive green, and because, see, you start seeing, can you guys see that?
Yeah.
See how the green kind of pops out? There's a blue-green in the that kind of runs in there, and there's some orangey colors. So it's pretty fascinating stuff. You can just keep playing and playing until you kill it. You just keep overworking it until it's just really yucky looking. So that's what these brusho products are. And it's a crystallized watercolor medium. The crystals are concentrated watercolor, so they are actually stronger than what you would have in a color palette, if you're using a regular color palette.
Do they come with the hole in the top, or do you have to punch that?
You have to punch your own hole.
Can you spell the name of that product?
Yeah, Brusho, B-R-U-S-H-O. And you can get them in single containers, or you can get a whole kit. They come in packages, maybe 6 or 12, or you can just pick them out individually. And what I do is, as I use it up, I just order whatever color I need. And they probably have new colors out now too, which I didn't research to find out. Another thing that's kind of cool with this is a little container of bleach. Okay, it has a little bit of water in it. And what it will do is it will start making some interesting designs. It kind of spots it and makes little tiny dots, kind of. And then you can also use that. Use a nice little eyedropper. Thank you for the cue. And what I do is sometimes I will just blend it. Like, take the dropper, you drop it down like that, and those colors will, can you see what's happening? Yeah, it runs down and it also lightens it up again. And what is kind of cool is that some of these colors, if you put bleach on top of it, you will end up having a turquoise pop up, which is kind of cool. You don't expect that, this purple comes, or this nice purple comes, yeah, turquoise comes up. And what I've done mostly is I've used these iridized watercolors. There's a couple of different companies that carry them. This one is the Kremer, K-R-E-M-E-R. These are wonderful. And then they have a nice palette here so you can see what you're doing when you're working with it. So a lot of nice golds. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 different golds in here. There is a kind of a amber color. So there's a lot of different colors that come in these kits. This one is more luminous than this company makes it also. This one is Fine Tech, and these guys are much more intense color, so they're not as bright. You'll have a lot more intense color than with the others. Okay, and there's a lot of cool colors in that too. So research that. You know, you might check like Dick Blick and some of these guys, and you will be able to find out if there are any new products like this out, because they're always coming up with something new. Okay, I wanted to show you, another thing I do is I want to make a color palette often. Like I want to figure out what my color palette is going to be for that particular painting. And once you get that sorted out, you can kind of, you know, start relating it to what you're going to create on your canvas. Okay? And you might notice there's a purple here and an orange. Nice contrasting colors, right? So whenever you put those together on the surface, you're going to have a nice bright jumping image. You know, it's going to really come out at you. So think about that, like Lucia was talking about the color wheel. Pick a color that's opposite what you're working with, just so that you have something to make that image more dynamic, have more contrast. Okay, and here's what the bleach does. Here's the this is olive green. Put a little tiny dot of bleach on there, and see how it's turquoise. Came up turquoise way back there. Can you guys see it? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's that part. Now I was gonna talk to you about some of the paintings that I've done and what my motivation was. So let me do that. I'm doing really good for time, I'm sure. I talk pretty
You look
fast.
great so far.
Yeah. Can you get the light? Yeah.
Do you not have a microphone?
Can't you hear? How about now?
Some of us are having a little hard time.
Oh, hello back there.
Sorry about that.
Speaking
Hey.
your teacher voice.
I'm going to do my teacher voice.
Okay.
All right. I have a whole bunch of peacocks. And they've been dropping feathers like crazy. And I've just been really trying to think about how can I use these in an art piece? Because I really like them. You know, they're fun. They're frivolous. And I didn't want to just paint it. So what I ended up doing is creating this piece that I wanted to do. Let's see, how can I explain this? I wanted to use the colors of peacock feathers. So I've got the blues and the greens going on in here, and that really helps create the atmosphere of the painting. And then after I had the shapes put on there with my brusho, see, I wet the paper down, yeah, and I sprinkle the brusho onto the paper. I move it around so I'm balancing out the colors. So I've got a purple over here, a purple over there, an orange, a blue, you know, so everything as you look at the piece of paper on your canvas is balanced. You just don't have it in one place. So that was the first thing I did. And when I work with that, I rotate my paper all the time, just so that I get a different view, so I can be sure that I'm actually doing what I want to do and it's going to come together as a composition. So these little peacock guys, whoops, those are real peacocks, peacock feathers. And I just glued them down. The gold is the iridized watercolor. Started out with a blue wash, the greens on top. Okay. Any questions about what I'm doing here? Okay.
Actual peacock feathers.
Actual peacock feathers. Yeah.
Which qualifies you for mixed media.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's see.
Question.
Yeah, sure.
What kind of glue did you use? Or
On the peacock feathers,
Yeah, how did you fix
you have to get some, really good Gorilla Glue is what I use.
Oh.
I tried to just spray the back of the feather with spray mount and put that on there, and it kind of works, but then you'll have parts of it that will not really adhere, because it's not a flat object. Yeah. So that's how I did that part. Okay, here's another peacock feather scene. This was my first one that I did with peacock feathers. I just really wanted to figure out how I could use these. It's like using something off the street. You want to figure out how to create something interesting from it. But you got I started out with greens and purples and blues, and then Parts of the painting I wasn't happy with, so I said, let's put a feather right there. And I did the same thing in a couple of other places. And the trick to this painting was to try to figure out what was up and what was down. So, you know, I kept rotating it and rotating it to see the way I liked it. So that's what that one is. That one sold at the last membership show, which really helped. Okay, this one I just finished. And I wanted to do something with rocks. I wanted rocks under the water. So I was thinking about, you know, Lucia was talking about thinking about what you're actually trying to present. So I was thinking mossy rocks, mossy rocks, mossy rocks. So I tried to keep everything really subtle so it looked like it was actually underwater. Again, the little turquoise dots were just on top of the that one particular brusho color that made it turn blue or purple. And then there's pinks in here, purplish. These little guys are streaks of bleach. And then I went over the top of them with gold so they actually glow. Let's see. This dark area in here, I was working to try to create a focal point, and it's really difficult when you're doing something like this with, you know, you've got all these shapes going on. You got to pull them all together and see if you can anchor them somehow. So, you know, I ended up making a lot more darkness in here. And a friend of mine, a dear friend who's sitting back in the room back there, suggested that perhaps I should be doing some more shadows to try to bring these things out from the background and give it more three-dimensionality. And it totally worked. I was so pleased. So that's that one.
So,
Yeah.
what is that watercolor, or is that your iridescent watercolor, or?
Yes.
Okay.
All of these little streaks are, it's hard to see.
All the paint though that you used was watercolor?
Yes.
Okay.
No brush.
It was all brushes.
Oh, it was-
Brusho and iridized.
Oh, okay, both.
Both. Yeah, Marilyn.
What do you do, how do you frame these?
How do I frame them?
Yeah, what do you do?
Well, I decided I was going to try to frame them without glass because I was tired of, you know, really heavy paintings. And so at first I was just framing them into a nice natural frame. It was an alder frame that's fairly thin, and that worked pretty well. But when I started adding things to the top of the painting, like the feathers, then obviously I had to figure out a way to enclose that. So I ended up putting glass on top and then mounting it on a piece of foam core board, yeah. Hey, okay, then there's this one, yeah. This one, boy did I fight this sucker. I'll tell you, man. I put the colors down, and then I just really had a heck of a time trying to figure out what I was doing. And so I kept working. I just kept working and adding things, and you know, and eventually it starts to evolve, and you have something that you are pleased with seeing. You know, it just has to kind of keep going. Yeah, so it's
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
So no, I love the flow of this one, and there is no brush involved. So it's just you moving the paper, and then, or what's really the technique that creates the different shapes?
my brush.
Oh, you do
Yeah.
the
You
brush.
put the color down, and then you know when you want to start to move it around, you just sprinkle it on there, and then you can go in with a brush. So I was doing, you know, like a little color here. Oh yeah, this looks like it needs darkness here. Oh yeah, let's try some bleach. So it looks like bubbles, you know, bubbles in the water.
But you,
and then-
you apply that with your brush.
Yeah,
Spray
I'm sorry, I missed that.
the bleach with your brush, or do you spray it on?
On that one, I just dropped it.
The dropper.
You can see this, these lines, that was done with the eyedropper. So
Are
it's
you
just
on a diesel
trailing.
or are you on the flat?
Say again?
Are you on an easel,
No, I work flat.
flat,
yeah.
but then you move it to get the
Right.
streaks?
I'll pick it up and move it around. Yeah, so I can get it to flow, right?
And the other question was, what kind of paper?
Oh, it's 300-pound Winsor Newton cold press.
Cold press. Did you gesso it first?
No, no treatment before that. So, yeah, something else.
Did you paint each one of those little rock-like things?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's just paint.
little tiny brush, yeah.
Have you entered this in the Motherlode show?
That one, no, the one I entered in the Motherlode show, let's see, is this one. And we'll see if it's actually gonna get accepted. If you wanna give me some light again, I'll show you this. Is there any question about what's going on here?
Sounds great.
Okay.
Thank you,
So,
Barbara.
this one I just started. Okay, this gives you a feeling for what the iridescence does. Can you catch the light on that?
You have to hold it higher.
Wow, that was so much fun.
Okay, and my problem was with this one is all the rocks to me still look too close to the same size.
I think they look like mushrooms.
Critique, please, critique. Yeah, so I'm working on that, and I'm thinking to myself, this is eddies and rocks, eddies of water. And then I'll go like this, and I go, well, do I like it better this way? Maybe. But how about like this?
Yeah.
You know, okay, something different. And then I'll do this, right?
Yeah.
So as you rotate the piece, you'll begin to see things. Yeah. Okay. All right. Any questions about this? This
Come up with this stuff.
well, it wasn't. If it wasn't for the brush show, I wouldn't. You know, because I had the shapes there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you start
Then
thinking
just
of a
sorta
theory.
outline them.
Yeah, I use these
Mm-hmm.
little pins to outline the shapes. This one still has, like I said, some things on it I think need to be resolved. But as you work with it and turn it and keep working, you come up with a solution to those problems. Okay? Oh, one thing I wanted to say. There was an issue of trying to make the rocks appear to be underwater, right? Well, you're not going to see a line underwater like that, right? So for a while there, I was just thinking, oh, well, I got to put some kind of line in there. But I decided that the way that I could determine that these were underwater was by the tone, the bluish tone that goes over the top of them, right? So like these guys up here are going to pop. These are going to look like they're right on the surface because they're bright and they're gold. They're going to, you know, so this will probably be a focal point because that's the first thing that you're going to see. Okay. Anyway. Yeah?
Very nice.
Yeah? Anything else you want to Okay.
So the paper, the larger paper that I gave you is YouTube teachers, if you go on that website, that I've really learned a lot from. And since I printed it up, I've discovered more, so enjoy.
Oh, one thing I didn't mention, this stuff, this is really good for coating your paintings. If you want to keep working on them, but you want to fix the color, this stuff is really good. Blair,
What's it called?
Blair gloss coatings.
What is that called again?
It's called Blair gloss.
And that's good for putting over the top?
Yeah, like if you're working and you want to, what happens is when you spray that on the surface, the colors get brighter.
What about if you have charcoal?
Charcoal?
You know,
Yeah, would it smear?
I don't know.
Depends on how close.
Socializing and exchanging ideas, but now we gotta go on with the meeting.
We
I
get
mean,
to
we
go on
get
with
to- I was gonna say that, we get to, look at what we get to do. I want to introduce our very special guest, who has quite an idea for us in partnering with her. And I'm gonna let you talk about it, I'm not gonna talk about it, because you know more about it than I do. I'd like to introduce Caitlin Thomas, who is the graphic design for Arts and Culture El Dorado. And she'll tell you about this program and what she's thinking, how we can fit into it. So with that, Caitlin, come on up.
Excuse me. Hi. Microphone and everything. So as she just said, my name is Caitlin Thompson, and I'm with Arts and Culture El Dorado, and we are kickstarting a program that we used to do called Art Partners. Some of you might have heard of it. It was several years ago that we did it when Andrew Vonderschmidt was in charge of it, and the ultimate goal of Art Partners is to facilitate art in public spaces that typically don't, have art in them. Right now, we are partnered with the El Dorado County Board of Supervisors Chamber to have artwork on their walls. And in the past, we had multiple locations for this, but the project languished and then COVID happened. And, everything happened with COVID that happened. So I am trying to get this program started again, and we need artists. So for it, we would require that an artist allow their work to be hung on the wall for like 4 to 6 months. It's a long-term program. At the moment, and I see a couple people taking notes. I do have a little one-sheet handout up on the front with my card, contact information, and everything. So it would be 4 to 6 months of your artwork hanging up in the Board of Supervisors Chamber meeting room, so the public is able to see it when they come to these, all the various events and meetings that happen in the chamber. At the moment, we can only accommodate framed, like 2D artwork, paintings, photos, all of that, and it has to have a wire hanging system at the back. But I'm hoping that as time goes on, we can figure out, other ways to display things other than just 2D artwork. You are allowed to sell your art. We don't take any sort of commission on it. The only requirement for that is that the artist and the interested party facilitate the purchase. So if you want to put up, whatever your artwork is for however much you want to charge for it, we take nothing off of that. You get all of the money off of that. You just have to communicate with the buyer. And yeah, so there's not a whole lot to it to talk about. It's a super short presentation. We just are trying to find artists to partner with, and I figured what better of a group to talk to about this than you guys. And so what I've left up here has just a really brief blurb about what the program is, a couple of frequently asked questions, and then my card. So you just contact me. I will be in charge of this program. And so I would facilitate communicating with the chamber and organizing, when you guys would drop off the artwork or swap out or whatever. So yeah, it's a very short presentation.
Great, a couple questions for you. Are we allowed to display our asking price with the artwork, or would that be just kept?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't see any reason why we couldn't have it. So what we'll do is we'll have a little wall card next to the piece with your name, the title of the piece, the materials, when it was created, and then the price.
Perfect, okay, and how many pieces would you expect, since you're gonna be doing one artist at a time, I
Yeah.
think, right? How many pieces would you be looking for from that artist on average? I know some are bigger, some
Yeah,
are smaller.
it depends on the size of the piece, but I think in the past it's been like 6 or more depending on the size. It's a decent sized space, and it's both sides of the meeting room. I want to say 10 to 12 feet on either side
Right.
that the space is.
And that's the chamber where the Board of Supervisors holds their monthly meeting, and so that room accommodates a few hundred people.
Oh, yeah.
So there will be a lot of people seeing your art over that 4 to 6 month period of time.
Yeah.
Maybe not as many as the county fair, but a lot of
Maybe.
Yes?
Do you only hang original works or usually art prints?
Good question. Prints are fine, photos are fine, any medium is fine. That reminded me of something I wanted to say earlier. The only thing, the only real requirements, I guess, would be we prefer it to be no larger than 4 by 4 feet, just because that gets too how. And it has to be family friendly because it is in a public space that the whole county has access to. No nudes, no graphic violence, no gore. Keep it G-rated.
Any weight limits?
I would prefer it not be too heavy because I'm gonna be the one, helping and handling things.
Matt's got a 4x4 that,
I've got a 4x4 that's about 25 pounds, but
I think the system can handle 25 pounds. It's been a while, so we use what's called a walker hanging system, and it's got like a railing and then a pole and a hook. And so we just have to really crank it down, but I believe we've done heavy things on it before.
this way you probably want 2.
Or we can do 2 hangers, yes, if it's got good hanging system in the back, it should work.
we
And the
use
cars?
the same for our
Okay,
membership.
so you guys are familiar
Yeah.
with it.
And the cards that you would put, is that something that we
No,
would
that's
have to
something I do.
create, or you would?
I would do it, yeah.
That's what you get when you deal with the graphic arts. You get services.
Yeah, so I would create the cards, and it'd be stuck on the wall, and when your artwork is done, you can take the card with you if you want. I have no need to keep it. Yes?
And would you be willing to put on that card like the QR code where people can just go and pay?
Yeah, can totally accommodate QR codes. Because I'm creating the cards, I can dictate how much space we need.
Okay.
If it needs to be a longer one. We also would hang like a bio with your information on it. If you've got a website, we include that. If you have, social media you want to include, anything like that. We try really hard to promote the artists in whatever capacity we can during their time up on the wall.
And if we sell a piece of art during the display period, can we let the buyer take it and then replace that piece of art?
You can. You would have to coordinate it with me because then I have to coordinate it with the county letting us into the building to make sure that nothing's happening. We don't want to interrupt a board meeting. But you can either leave it up the duration, or if the buyer is like, I want it now, we can facilitate swapping out.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? And if you think of anything, like I said, I've got my card and everything up here, so you can email me. I'm very friendly online.
And in person.
And in person. I try to be. So I know, when I hear presentations like this, I don't always think of questions in the moment. So yeah, we've also got a form that you can apply to be part of it. I'm going to hang around for a couple of minutes afterwards if you think of something. And I hope that each and every one of you will apply.
Thank you, good.
I just want to throw in a caveat that our very own Lucia Rothgeb did that very same thing that you're talking about.
Oh, cool.
5-7 years ago?
Yeah,
Yeah, me too, Kathy.
it's been a program for a
And
while.
you were in there too.
Yeah, there's quite a few people.
Okay, sorry, I'm sorry. So we have had our artists in the Board of Supervisors.
Cool. Well, we're starting it up again. So.
Okay.
Wonderful, it's a wonderful opportunity. Okay, next on our agenda is our illustrious leader, and you're going to show us some AI art.
Okay, great. You guys can all hear me without the microphone. The projector can catch me up here. So I have had 3 artists that sent work that they created with AI. So the first one we're going to show is Sherry Lynn Morris. Sherry Lynn, you're here. Do you want to go up to the microphone? Okay, she's going to go up to the microphone.
You need a light on to...
Let's have it off. We can see it all better.
Turn it off.
Turn it off.
Turn it off. So it's my cat and my 2 ceramic cats, and I had just snapped this photo, and so I brought it. I had this one program, and I can't think of the name of the program now off the top of my head, but I tell you it was.
You told me this one was attachment1.jpg.
Yeah. It was like, anyway, it was a photo kind of thing, but it used different known kind of art styles that you could go through.
Picasso?
So I did a bunch of different styles. I have a couple different photos that I did. This was where my cat was sitting next to like the TV with, and I just liked how he was sitting there. So I just used, I think I used a different filter on each one of these.
So you actually took a photo and
So I
then
took
had the AI interpret the photo.
Right, and I had the AI interpret the photo. I mean, I went through all their samples of what they liked, and I would take
And of
the ones
course,
that I liked the best out of it.
all of you have this chair at home, right?
Question, what?
Did you use Photoshop?
No, like I said, it was just, it was a photo program. No, it wasn't even light work. Oh.
Picasso?
Say that again?
Picasso?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna
I
go
don't
look
know.
in my email and see if I
Yeah,
can find
see if
it
it's
while
in your
you
email. I mean, I wrote
talk
it
about
to
your
you.
last one.
Because I didn't know. And then he was, my cat again, laying on a quilt on the bed, and I just kept playing with that one to kind of give it more of a drawing, fun color splash to it. I mean, it was just really easy and fun, and there were so many choices. Oh my gosh. And you could also, if you could change the intensity too of stuff if you wanted to, so if you really wanted to play with
Snapseed?
it.
Snapseed?
What'd you say?
Snapseed?
Maybe.
It's free on the phone.
Yeah, it might have been in the phone. I don't know where.
Print them out.
It's been a while since I've done it. It was like the beginning of the month or something. I just wanted to play. I might have done it on my laptop. So, I don't remember if I did it on my laptop or my phone, but I think I did it on my laptop. So, I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of it. But it was something, it might have just been an app that I had gotten on there. Well, I didn't know I was gonna talk, so. Sorry, I would have had that
Yeah, and
information.
I'm sorry, I'm not finding your original email either. But what we learned from the AI presentation that we did a few months ago is that you can upload a photo and ask AI to work off of that, or you can just give it a prompt and let it work from scratch. And so what Sherry Lynn did with all of these photos, all of these AI works, is she combined an actual photo of her pet in situations with the AI program and then asked for different styles of artists from that. So
These were called, before we spoke AI, filters.
filters, yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. And our next person that submitted some things to share with us is Sue Wickersham, who told me that she used Night Cafe, because you can see that in the notes here on the, and her first prompt is aerial view of Zion National Park with river in oranges and blue. And so you can see that it generated this abstract work for her. Sue, do you want to come up and talk yourself, or do you want me to just keep talking for you?
I'm gonna be up there in a minute.
Okay, all right. So I'll just keep talking for you. And then Sue submitted a second one. I'm going to go back to the directory so I can see the prompt. Lake Tahoe in a neon impressionistic style. So you can see you can craft AI to do different things for you. And certain AI engines work in different ways than others, so you may want to explore different ones. And then the final person that submitted AI work would be me, and I did mine via Midjourney, and I did a series of waves. And so the first three are breaking wave in neon colors. And so I have three examples from using that prompt. And then I decided that I would ask it to give me a wave in the style of Van Gogh. Same prompt, breaking wave in the style of Van Gogh. And we got that one. And then I decided I would just go black and white and see what happened. And there's just some certain power in that black and white one that you don't get with the color. And then the final one, I then went back and asked it to do blues and golds. And so these are just the kind of things that you can do with a similar subject matter and getting it to represent in different ways.
What's the name of the application?
I use Midjourney, and it's a paid application, and what I like about it is it gives you a somewhat photorealistic rendering, and also the right to use your images commercially. A lot of the AI engines that you go on and you use for free will not allow you to sell your work. You can't copyright your AI work to begin with, but certain of the generation engines don't allow you to sell it at all. Midjourney, if you pay them in the neighborhood of $8 to $9 a month, you can actually sell your images. And so far, since I started doing AI work in January of this year, I have sold 12 of my AI works in that period of time. And that far exceeds anything I've ever done with either my photography or my abstract art. So the public is really resonating with this work. I sold 2 just last weekend, but then that was up against 6 of Lucia's, so, I'm just a shadow of it. Anyway, thank you all for looking, and that was a fun challenge, I think, for those of us that got to do it. Oh yeah, that's just the Windows thing, right? Microsoft spent a lot of money to get that image. Okay, Kathy, you're back on with your announcements.
Okay, I'm back. Matt, you want to just give a quick update on the studio tour? The studio tour is hot, and it's going now. It went last weekend, it's still going this weekend.
You're saying everything I was going to say.
Uh-oh. But I want to know who's selling, and is everybody having fun?
Well, that was my first question. How many, raise your hand if you are participating in the studio tours. Yeah. So these are the people who are currently participating in the studio tours. We'd really like to invite you all to go out to visit the studios to see what other people are doing, help support us. Bring a friend who has a checkbook or a credit card.
Cash will do.
Cash will do as well. And but please be help support us. I mean, we're all artists. We're not out there to buy each other's art, but we're happy to sell to you, yes. But please bring your friends, come around, see us what we're doing, and get some ideas of your own. I mean, that's the one setback of being in the studio tour is I can't go out to the other studios.
And I visited 5 studios this weekend, and I plan to visit the other 4 next weekend. And I did make some videos that we will be posting on YouTube, because we've never actually had any videos up on YouTube of our tours. So we're going to get that this year.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt. So the next event we've got coming up is our member show at the Government Center. And Carolyn, I know you were. That's what I'm saying, Carolyn.
What am I supposed to be talking about?
I have something to say.
Okay, our member show, and our illustrious leader trumps you right now. So
Well, and let me just say what I know you're going to reinforce for me. But we did have a complaint last year from the Government Center. And we are extremely, for our spring show, we are extremely privileged to be able to use that space. We can sell our art there. They don't charge us to use the space. A lot of the public comes through the space. They have asked us to try to tone our enthusiasm down just a bit. And that comes in 2 places. One is during our reception, which they're a little bit more understanding about, but we'll try to keep our applause and cheering to a minimum there. But the other is a rather big change for you guys that have been around a while, because we're going to ask you to come and check in your art. And if you're not scheduled for a shift at that moment in time, we're going to ask you to go, because the waiting around for the judge and us moving chairs around and us sitting there while people are trying to go get married has been causing lots of consternation at the Government Center. So this is our request, and what we have promised to do is for the actual judge's tour, I will get my trusty handheld video camera here, run around and film the judge giving us a critique, and then I promise you I will have that up on YouTube within 24 hours so that you'll be able to see what the judge had to say. And I know that's sad because we've all had kind of a fun party atmosphere on those Monday mornings, and it's a great place where we've been able to develop some camaraderie, but we really do need to preserve our ability to show there. And we will be looking, of course, for volunteers to sit shifts, and if you really want to be around while the judge is there, maybe you'll take that 11 o'clock shift that day, because that would be one way to do it. So, got anything else to say about that, Carol?
Well, mainly just, I know there's a couple of visitors and new people, so it is a member show, so if you're not a member yet, we encourage you to enter so that you, or become a member so you can enter. Take-in is Monday morning, October 2nd, starting at 8 o'clock. You can enter up to 4 pieces. Entry fee didn't change, it's gone up a little bit, for $10 each. This is a subject matter organized and judged show. Spring we'll be back to media again, so we're going to do two different kinds of shows each year now. So we have people and portraits, animals, landscape and seascape. Okay, I know I'm going to forget something. Still life and floral.
Photography.
Abstract and experimental, they call it, although I was thinking that AI probably should have been under experimental, but AI and photography. And I've got 2 camps that have different opinions about where photography should go, but we're keeping it as a separate entity, at least for now. You can't please, some famous person said, you can't please everybody all the time, so I'm trying to please most of you all the time. And if you have questions, you can see me, the entry form and the entry rules, and please read the entry rules because there are little things that change. Some of you have been around for so long and it's always been done a certain way, and well, now it's my way. I don't make the decisions, all the decisions, but things have changed a little bit. So make sure you really read and understand what you need to do. And if you know you're going to enter and you have an image that you would like to maybe end up in the Mountain Democrat to publicize our show beforehand, you can email your image to Sylvia Coleman and she sends them her blurb and the photos, and they pick and choose what to put in the paper. But we would love to have that pre-publicity instead of just writing up a story about it afterwards, because it's only a week. Okay, questions? You can always email.
Send your images to agogetter, GITTER, at AOL.com. Or what will happen is, once again, my images will be in the newspaper. So send them to Sylvia so it's not just me in the newspaper.
By Wednesday, she says.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so bottom line is we've got a new sheriff in town, and I do encourage you to read the prospectus. Carolyn, I do have a question.
Well, I probably have an answer.
One piece, we can have one piece not for sale.
You may have, yes, one piece not for sale. So
What if we only have one piece
if you
that we
only have
enter?
one piece, it can be not for sale, but it doesn't have to be.
Okay,
But if you enter 2, you can't make both of them not for
there
sale.
you go. Okay.
And we spent some of our profits from the spring show and we bought 2 more
2
pedestals.
more pedestals, so we have a little more room, because right now we only have 4 pedestals. They are all reserved. We just purchased 2 more pedestals. So
And now
for
those
each
are-
person-
And now those are reserved too?
And now those are reserved.
Oh, they're
So I-
already
yeah.
reserved? Okay.
So I was gonna make that announcement. We've got people who have reserved the pedestals, and I think you guys know who you are. If for some reason you change your mind, also get a hold of me so I can free up a pedestal. So at this point, we don't have any more pedestals available.
Did you have a question? Well, I saw you getting ready to ask one, and then we all started talking.
Yeah, well, on how many you enter, I didn't read it completely.
She entered not for
I
sale.
only had one that I wanted to sell,
Okay.
but the other three I didn't want to sell.
Well, here's my suggestion, put $10,000
on it, yeah.
on it, and nobody's gonna buy it. Now, be careful,
Good
because
idea.
last time somebody didn't wanna sell theirs, she had two. I said, well, just put $8,000 on it. And somebody almost bought it, so they put $1 million.
We,
And how much does, if we sell something, part of that
It's,
as a
what is
commission?
it, 25%, no. I forget.
check the perspective.
It's
either 20 or 25.
25%, yes, so price yourself accordingly.
So instead of $1 million, it
Yeah.
sells, and
And
then we get.
We're
lots
gonna
of
make
it.
lots of money, and we sold, what, how many pieces at the show last time?
Wasn't it 8?
6 or 8 pieces,
That's it.
so we do something.
used to sell them.
But the 25% goes for a good cause, it goes to our outreach program.
No, no,
It
mm-mm,
doesn't
no,
go to our
no, no,
outreach
no, it
program.
goes to general fund.
Forget it.
It goes to the art show. Even your entry fees really don't cover the whole cost of the shows.
That's true.
And we only make a profit when we sell your art. And then, for instance, because we made a profit on the spring show, we were able to go buy 2 more pedestals, which cost us $300, plus about $30 for casters on the bottom, plus Carolyn's rehabbing them right now.
Plus for gas to go pick them up in Bolay.
Well, Crockett, but who's counting? So this is what we try to do coming back. But we will have a couple of pieces of art on silent auction at the member show, and those proceeds do go to benefit outreach.
There you go. But, you know, you guys stole my thunder, because I do want to thank both Carolyn and Linnell, particularly for me and my fellow sculptors with the pedestals. Carolyn wouldn't take no for an answer, and she scoured and looked and found these 2 pedestals. Once she found them in Vallejo, Linnell pops up and says, I'll go get them. So we have the 2 pedestals. Thank you.
And the young man that I bought them from did not help me load them.
Oh.
And let me just say, they are heavy. If you have the opportunity to help with them, you will see how heavy they are. So,
He must have had a broken back. Okay, so before I forget, I do want to remind or make an announcement that at the Sacramento Fine Arts Center is Northern California Artist Bold Expressions. It's their art show that is running from October 3rd to the 28th. And I know that there are some of us artists who have pieces in the show. So yay for us.
Also, I want to announce we are having a great reception on the 14th of October from 5:30 to 8:30 with live music and some little noshes to eat. We will also be featuring a color brochure for the artists so that collectors can see your name and your work together. So please come and join us. It's going to be a good time.
Good show.
wonderful. Thank you, Valerie.
Very, very prestigious
It's
show.
Sacramento Fine Arts Center in Carmichael at 5330 Gibbons Drive. Thank you very much.
Okay, there you go. The next show that we have coming up is our Mother Love Show. And I'd like to bring Sue Wickersham up to give us an update, because that's going crazy right now.
Thank you. So we are in the home stretch. You want to be in the Motherlode Show, deadline is this Friday at noon. Last year, this week of the Motherlode Show, 100 artists entered. So it's starting to roll right now. Our judge, he contacted me actually today because I think he thought our deadline was last Friday. He's chomping at the bit. He's so excited, which is awesome. It's William Ishmael. I didn't know him until I met him, but he was recommended to us by Barbara Burge, who was our judge from last year, and our fall show judge for our member show. So that's happening. So if you have any questions, see me or go to placervillearts.com and go click on the graphic for the Motherlode Show. It'll take you to the prospectus and it'll give you all the dates and all the rules and all that kind of stuff. This is not a member show, it's a national show. So any artist in the United States is eligible. It's open theme and open medium. So we want a very diverse show. We're taking everything.
You're accepting entries, it's a jury show.
It's a juried show, thank you, Carolyn. Yes, it's a juried show. So William will jury the pieces in, and then he will judge them. We have 3 special awards that are sponsored, 2 memorial awards and then one, I don't know what you call that one. Anyway, those are being sponsored by private individuals. So William will jury in the pieces into the show. That will be the show. Those 3 sponsored awards, they will choose up to 10 pieces that they think fits their particular award. And then William will pick the award within those 10 pieces. There's also Placerville Arts Awards, which is only eligible to Placerville Art members. So anybody that enters the show is eligible for everything except Placerville Arts Awards unless you are a Placerville Arts member. So as members, you're eligible for every award. We have 16 awards equaling over $3,200 cash. We will need some volunteers to sit the show. They're 2.5-hour increments of time. You sit at the desk, you greet the people, you count how many come in, so we have some kind of idea of, our public and what we're getting in. I'm all into the stats. I've got kind of buried myself in stats lately. It's very interesting. So I think it's going to be another good show. We have a nice reception, catered reception, no host or hosted. Which way is it when we pay for the beer and the wine?
Free beer and wine, there's a tip jar.
And if you sell anything, 80% goes to you and 20% goes to the MAC, which is where we're having it. The MAC is Mill Station Arts and Cultural Center in Rancho Cordova. And they just got, in the upstairs, they just installed gallery lights, which is awesome. It looks so great. So I think that's it. If you want to volunteer, if you're going down there to see the show and you want to hang out for a bit, might as well volunteer. Let me know. We will have a program up on the internet that you can sign up on, or you can just tell us and we'll put you in. I think that's.
You can enter up to 5 pieces?
You can enter up to 5 pieces. 2 is the maximum that will be chosen. You can have 1 not for sale. What else? There is some, I forgot the size limitation. It's pretty big. It's like 6 foot by 4 foot or something. So.
What are the hours the show is open?
The show will be open Thursdays and Fridays from 2 to 7. And those are the times that we need people to sit. We're going to split that up. So from 2 to 4:30, 4:30 to 7. And then Saturdays it's 11 to 4. The gallery is closed to the public on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But if you want to see the show and you can't make it on the days that the gallery is open, we can make arrangements with Cheryl Gleason, who is our curator and manager of the MAC, and she can get you can come in when she's there, like on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. I think that's it. Is there anything else I need to say?
Don't miss the deadline. There's no extensions.
Yeah, no, yet.
Well, something that doesn't seem to come up, they offered classes last time, and so I took a Saturday class. Workshops during the show. Pardon? Workshops during the show, you mean? During the Motherlode show.
Yeah, we don't, Cheryl is the one who organizes that. I haven't talked to her about that. We don't have any scheduled. She just released the October classes.
It was great fun, if anybody wants to go down for a class.
Yeah, I'm hoping she will have some. I don't have any info on that right now. We will have music at the reception again. And there is a concert on the last Friday of the show, a jazz harpist. I can't remember his name, but I have the act somewhere. So, anyway, yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Again, the deadline is this Friday at noon. And don't wait till the last second, because if you're gonna send me emails, I'll try and answer them, but once that noon hits, the program shuts you down.
That's right. We don't have any options around that.
No.
And if any of you are thinking about not entering because you cannot take your own art down for intake day because you're going to be out of town or something like that, all the shipped art is going to come to me, so I can arrange with you to pick your art up somewhere here locally and take it down for you on that day. So don't let that stand in your way of entering the show if you happen to be on vacation that week, because I'm happy to do that for you.
And I just want to add just another caveat. This is our 56th year, 57th year for the show. Historically, we've had it at the Shakespeare Club in Placerville. Then we moved to the Sacramento Fine Arts. And with a relationship that Sue has developed with Cheryl out at the MAC, last year was our first year at the MAC, and that was our most successful year. That was fabulous.
It's a beautiful, beautiful facility.
We have next year also, we're already scheduled for next year.
Okay. Good job, Sue.
And we also have the Bank of America Gallery at Folsom, but not next year. We have it for winter 2025.
Yeah. Just a couple of other things so we can wrap this up. October, the member share for our October meeting is holiday anticipation. Does that mean Halloween? What?
Thanksgiving.
We have Thanksgiving, we have Christmas, okay.
We have New Year.
Yeah. And another quickie, just for the record, last year we had our Christmas brunch at the Buttercup restaurant, and we're going to do that again this year too. We thought it was a rousing success, so I'm going to be in charge of that as well.
Are we going to do an art exchange?
No.
We're not? We're not?
She's got puppy dog eyes over here. Of course we do the art exchange. I just, for a show of hands, who went last year? Okay, we had an art exchange, and those are fun. Kind of takes up some wonderful quality time. And with that, unless anybody has anything they'd like to say, I think we can wrap this up. Okay, thank you. Thanks for coming. Oh, yes.
Tony and I won the back of the banner for the second year in a row.
Yay!
Banner's on parade, ours is in the museum, the Pullman Museum.
You won?
Yeah.
One for the back of it.
The back.
Apparently it is.
It's the Jeff Boyd
Memorial
Award. It is the second year we've won the back.
So the front is, in other words, the
I'm
banner has two
confused.
sides.
Okay.
The front you have to get approved with a little cat go in and you paint it and they hang it. But you can do what you want on the back as long as you don't cover up any of the words that are on it. So we did a beautiful sunset inside one part, and the bottom we put a heart shape. It was images of hope. So it was all the different colored ribbons that go for cancer, to all the different types of cancer. And so it's inside of a heart shape though, all these different colored ribbons. So they liked it so much they gave us, which I think is ironic because we earn more money getting the back of the award than we do when we won third place. The front of the banner you got $30, for the back of the banner we got $50.
Congratulations, you two. Mother and daughter duo.